Now this might just be the most disruptive training shoe to hit the market. Today we're going to be doing a review of the RAD 1 V2. I've had this training shoe for about 6 months. Now, unlike most shoe reviews that you see online, people unbox them and then tell you what they think of them, I've put these shoes through their paces. Just like I did in my V1 review video, which you haven't watched already, then I'll put the link in the description below so you can go ahead and watch that. I wanted to give these guys a proper test out before I let you know what I thought. Now, just before we get into the shoe review, I thought it was quite interesting that RAD went ahead and changed their very, very popular RAD 1 shoe so soon on after releasing it. That shoe got such great reviews from people all over the internet. It was featured in so many magazines, and it was so much about that shoe was about the hype. When that shoe first came out, everyone was getting on the website when the shoes were being released. There was limited numbers in colorways and people absolutely loved it. This brand has become so much more established now with the colorways coming out time and time again, week on week. And you know, it's become now a global company, and it sees so many people worldwide now rocking their shoe for training. So it kind of surprised me that they went ahead and released the V2 so soon. But there was obviously some feedback that they took from that first shoe to try and improve on this shoe. And today I'm going to be letting you know whether that paid off or not. Now, when this shoe hit the market, we'll talk about the aesthetics first of all. I saw the first images and straight away I was like, ooh, what is that? I was like, they put this wave design on the side, and if you look at the photos of this shoe online, it looks so offensive when you're looking at the pictures in terms of this design on the shoe. But in the actual flesh, when I picked the shoe up, unboxed it, it really wasn't that offensive to look at. Like, you can see that it doesn't really show on the side profile like it looks like it may do on the front. And I don't know, it kind of blends and works with this shoe. For my personal taste, I still not 100% sold on it. I preferred the aesthetic of the RAD 1, the version 1 from the side. But, you know, they get away with it on this shoe, and it, you know, it could be performance related. It could, I don't know, offer better durability. I'm the wrong guy to ask on that one in particular, but from an aesthetic standpoint, that was one of the biggest noticeable changes that they made on the shoe. The other things that I noticed was what was happening with the toe box. Now, they've changed the material. There was a lot more suede on V1, which I think was a good decision because this is gonna wear much better than the V1s did. I went through a pair of V1s very, very quickly. In fact, 2 pairs inside 6 months. And the biggest thing that was happening with the V1s is the wearing in the back of the heel. Now, these have worn, but the material that they've used on the inside edge of this shoe is just so much better than they had on the version 1. So after 6 months of absolutely battering these shoes, they've still held intact really, really well. Now, you got to be bold going for a white colorway anyway, because in gyms, most of them are dirty, they aren't gonna last, but these are still looking pretty good after the battering that I've given them. Other than that, all around aesthetically, like, pretty happy with how the shoe looks. Like, RAD are known for their outrageous colorways, and the colors that they use tie in nicely, and I'm not opposed to that. I think this shoe would probably look great in like a complete flat black color, complete flat white color, because it kind of would deter from this look, which I'm personally not 100% set on. The breathability of this shoe is absolutely brilliant. And I want to get into more the functionality, which I'm sure is what you guys are most interested in comparison to the V1. So when putting on this shoe, the first thing I noticed that it felt slightly wider straight off the bat. When I was wearing the V1s, I've got quite a flat foot. I noticed that it was gripping my foot quite tightly when I first put them on, and it took me probably 6 to 7 workouts in the shoe for them to break in and start to feel comfortable. Whereas you put this shoe on, especially if you've got a slightly wider foot, and straight away you're like, great, this shoe feels comfortable and hugs my foot really well. One thing that RAD do really well is they make the height of the back of this shoe high enough so that it really feels like it hugs your heels from the back. You get a great deal of support on that in particular. So compared to the V1, comfort-wise, definitely took a level up for me with the V2, which is great. And noticeably when I'm wearing these shoes from a stability standpoint, it's still good from a stability standpoint. Now, I'm gonna compare this from a stability standpoint to lifting in the V1 and another shoe that I wear a lot when I train, which is the Adidas Drop Set. Now, the Drop Set 2 in particular was by far the best shoe that they did. The new Drop Set 3 they made wider and I didn't like it so much. I feel like if you've got such a great shoe that people love, don't change it. So yeah, side tangent there. Stability wise in this particular shoe, feels great and it's absolutely fine if you're not lifting super heavy. Now, I obviously do Olympic weightlifting in these shoes in excess of say 100 or 150 kilos. These are too soft for that. But one thing that I do like about this shoe, and we have to remember this is a functional fitness shoe, it is a lot more comfortable now to run in. Now, you see so many more people training high rocks, getting on the running machines, and even myself now doing a lot more functional workouts. I do regularly do stuff that has running in, and I put these through the test in that for this shoe. And they feel so much more softer under the foot when you're striking in a run, which is really, really good, I think, because you get the balance then of having the stability if you're doing things like wall balls, doing light deadlifts, or even cycling a barbell. But if you need to run 400 meters in these shoes, it's not gonna kill your feet, which is great. It means that you're not having to necessarily jump between running shoe and then something like a drop set, depending on what the workout is. This works really nicely as a hybrid training shoe between the two. Next thing for me, like when it comes to training in this shoe, the actual fit with the laces across the front is great. It really feels like it hugs the foot for me in particular. And the grip from the bottom base of this shoe is really good. They haven't changed that too much from their first one. They've just put a couple more splits in. More than anything, I think for a little bit more flexibility in the toe box of this shoe, which you can see is really good, which is great, like I said, for anything a little bit more functional that you may be doing in this shoe. Again, jumping between CrossFit or functional fitness, this shoe's gonna work really, really well. And overall, like I said, from the durability aspect of this shoe, something that they've made a huge advancement in is how well the back heel is holding up, and the actual shape of this shoe holds a lot firmer than the first version that they did. So all in all, this shoe is gonna be getting a 7.8 out of 10 in my opinion, and the only things that is really letting it down is just aesthetically for my personal taste. Didn't love it as much as I did the V1, but I think there's been some really solid improvements for comfort and usability for this shoe if you're solely doing functional training or light strength training. Again, still, if you were to opt for something that was going to be more led towards being able to lift heavy in, I still think the Adidas Drop Set 2 beats this shoe for that, for support and stability, and for really for contact for the ground. But this is jumps ahead when you want to use this shoe in a workout that also contains something like a run. And just so that you know, from a review standpoint, RAD sent me these shoes for free. I toasted them a little bit in their first review and they still sent me these out. So guys, I hope you enjoyed, again, another honest review from me. You as a company are doing absolutely amazing. I love your branding, I love where you're heading. And it's great to see continual advancements in the training shoe space for you guys, because in my opinion, I definitely think you have the edge from an aesthetic standpoint and a branding standpoint over TYR, people buying into a brand and into a lifestyle nowadays, and you guys do that work really well. So keep up the good work. I hope you guys enjoyed this review video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And if there's anything else that you think, Sonny, I'd love to get your opinion from a shoe perspective for review, then let me know and I'll be happy to do it.